From a service department where dreams go to get diagnosed and come back as a four-figure estimate, it's Fixed Ops Focus with Dave Rogers and Steve Shaw. Because every great podcast needs two guys who know exactly why that check engine light is on and how much it's going to cost you.
Dave, we're back again. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Awesome. I'm counting down the hours to, I'm leaving a little early for the convention. I got to fly out to LA and then from LA over, I got some clients to meet, then over to the convention. Here's my question for you getting started. Tell me your favorite NADA story.
Favorite story? I don't know if I could say that. I don't know if I could say all my stories. No,
You can't say it out loud.
I've been pretty good. I really, by the time I get done at the end of the day, I'm so exhausted. It's ridiculous. I think, I would tell you, I really don't have a fun, I go, I'm an idiot. I go out there and I work and,
a guy said to me the other day, he's like, I don't go out there to party. And I go, shoot, I haven't had a cocktail in almost 6 months now, or probably 5 months now. So for me, it's not really the parties and I've been invited to every party. I love when I get the invite, it makes me feel good. But at 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, I can't do it. I can't make it.
It's the time zone change too. You're like when I fly out there the first day, I'll try to stay up as late as I can now, on the first night to try to acclimate a little bit more to their time zone. But, I'm used to getting up at 4 o'clock here. Right. So it's 1 o'clock there, it's terrible. I tell you one thing I did that has nothing to do with the convention is that I got up there one day early and, I was walking around, I was walking down the strip, right? And I discovered those rum Slurpee stands that they have, the tubes with the Slurpee in it that they'll put Bacardi 151 rum in it, right? I'm not a real rum drinker. So the guy, I get a medium one, I don't get like the 3-foot one, but I start walking down the strip, I'm drinking it, right? It's like, 11 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Of course, I'm, just hanging out, just by myself, walking down the strip. And I get down to like the Mirage, I turn around and it's free refills. So on the other side, I get another refill, right? And I'm fighting off brain freeze, and so by the time I got that back to my hotel, I was pretty tuned. Right? I hadn't eaten lunch, I hadn't done anything, right? So, so I go, I sit out back by the pool. I think I was at the Wynn. I was staying at the Wynn and the Encore. So I lay out by the pool, and I'm in the shade, and I'm underneath, like just laying in the shade, and I pass out. It's like maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, whatever. And it's the day before the convention. It's no big deal, right? I wake up like 3 hours later. The sun had gone behind it was shady because the sun was behind the tower. Now I wake up, I'm in the sun, I'm fried, right? And as I'm waking up, one of the waitresses comes by and, do you want anything to drink? And I'm like, yeah, just give me something with rum in it. I need something quick.
Give me some aloe vera.
Oh, I was like, I'll never do that again. I think I had 2 or 3 of them. I was pretty lit. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't drink anymore, or not like that for certainly, or not. I don't drink cocktails very much anymore because of last year. But my favorite thing though at the convention, no matter what, is just walking around and seeing everybody. I told you before in one of the things where I am very opinionated. Probably like yourself, like you said, just get to the point, does it integrate or not? And, I told the story about where the hunter guy, or the tire guy, that wasn't Tire Profiles, was a hunter guy, threw me out of his booth because, I was poo-pooing the drive over rack. But yeah, I think the best thing about the convention is, and it's the same about the car business, right? I love people, and I love the people in the business, and to get to see everybody, is absolutely my is my favorite thing. I've texted a couple guys already and said, "Hey, you guys going to the show?" And a couple guys are like, "I can't do it this year, can't do it." But what's funny? Last year, right? New Orleans snowed in, and I live in Tampa, so I'm like, "Well, I'll just drive." But then I found out that 10 was closed, so couldn't get there, on a flight, or couldn't do that. So I canceled. Right? I paid my $1,300 vendor cost to come in. And so after the convention, after a few days or a week or whatever, I emailed the Merritt's or whoever runs the show for them, and I said, "Hey, is there any kind of credit or anything that you'll do?" And they go, "No." And they were flat out like, "You didn't make it to the show, and they weren't going to do any refunds or anything. So I send an email to them in Steve Shaw, very nice, polite, professional fashion. And I said, so what you're saying is you guys are the NADA show and you're NADA and you teach everybody you're supposed to be the what we all look up to, right? And you teach, you have customer service and you do all this stuff, but you're basically going to say blank you, we're not going to do anything for you, right? I said, what kind of message does that send? And so I got a nice email back and it said, you know what? We're going to go ahead and give you a credit for next year. And I'm like, okay, so I've been saving these emails that I've been getting all year long. And a while ago they said, please click here to get your free ticket. And I go, wow, how about that? Yeah.
That's that's great. I like that. You tortured them a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, last year was it was interesting. It really was. I got off the we got off the airplane on there was a couple of us on the airplane. So when we landed, it was like Wednesday at 1 o'clock ish, and we were the first plane to land. And after because it snowed on Monday, I think it was right down there.
It's
So
crazy. Yeah.
we landed at Wednesday at 1 o'clock. We're the first plane to land, and we walking through the airport, and it was like empty. It was like there was nobody there, right? Walked outside, get into a cab. There's a line of cabs out there. It was like no wait at all, right? Get in the cab. I got this poor guy. He's driving around like a Dodge Caravan, right? And he can't get on the freeway 10 because the entrance ramp they got the red bars across it, and you can see it hadn't been plowed yet. The entrance ramp from the airport to get onto 10 hadn't been plowed yet. And as you're driving along, you could kind of get glimpses of 10 and different things, the highway, whatever it was, not being plowed or maybe one lane plowed in there. And this guy's driving, and he's driving down these streets and in the tire tracks, right? And he's panicking, like his ABS would kick in, and I'm like looking out the window, and it was so fascinating. I saw the greatest snowmen I've ever seen in my life down there. These people had built snowmen that were like 8 feet tall. They were perfect. They had carrots, hats. I mean, it was amazing, right? So finally, I get past all that fun stuff, and I finally said to him, I said, "Do you want me to drive?" I said, "'Cause you don't look like you're having a good time." He goes, "I don't like this. You're my first passenger and you're my last. I'm going home. I can't do this." It took us so long to get to the hotel. All the streets in New Orleans in downtown where the hotels were, real close to the convention, weren't half of them weren't plowed. There was cars still on the street with snow on them. It was like this guy he goes, "I'm going home." So I gave him a nice tip and sent him on his way.
Well, that's probably the best place for everybody in a deal like that. I thought
Yeah.
I remember you told me it was somewhere around 2 hours it took you to get from the airport to
It was crazy. It was a
to
crazy trip.
downtown or
Yeah.
to whatever you call it. What is it? What's the name of that street? I forget that everybody goes on. Bourbon Street.
Bourbon Street. Yeah. Yeah.
I had an apartment down
I
there for a
walked to
while
that.
once.
Yeah, I walked to Bourbon Street. It wasn't too far. I mean, it was a little bit of a walk, but I walked to it, and that street was clear. But it was actually right after that terrorist attack, so it was still closed, and they had all those people die, unfortunately. So they had the streets still blocked off and stuff last year. It was a very
Yeah.
weird. It was a very weird trip. I really, they were on high alert, and it was just it was a really it was sad being there, but it's kind of crazy that they actually had the convention too, with the snow and all that other stuff piled up. So
Yeah, exactly. Was there anything else you're looking forward to this year to going down there?
yeah, I mean, I did normal tools, to look at maybe some recon trackers or stuff like that, something maybe that's easy to use that could be rolled out into some of the stores. Um, we use the service tools, whether it's CDK, Dealer Logics, My Karma. There's always something new out there, better out there. I want to take a look at it. Again, those tools are okay. They work good. The reporting's decent, but every single one of them has a glitch that seems to be, aggravating somebody. It's like a paper cut, right? It just irritates the crap out of everybody. So, I just, those type of things. And then, the AI data mining, I don't think we talked about that last time is I think that's where it would work really well as long as it integrates with your DMS and you can feed it information like, look for this op code the last time it was done, look for this op code the last time it was done. There was a program a few years back. It was a bot. It wasn't AI. It was a bot, Conversica, that worked okay doing that. But if you somebody was texting back and forth with it, it couldn't answer a question, other than can you schedule the appointment? Um, so it'd be nice to have some real AI that can work with somebody that maybe has a question obviously we want it to make the appointment, you know, entertain the customer a little bit better than just say, do you want to make an appointment? Do you want to make an appointment? Do you want to make an appointment? Because that's what it does.
Well, I think that AI should be able to answer a question or
Yep.
even, general type of questions, And even better would be, if it's a real AI, it can data mine, it can look in, hey, I've got a Jeep Wrangler. How often should I change my oil? I just
Right.
had can you tell me the last time I changed my oil? And it looks into your database, and it says you were here at 94,000, you need to be back at 99. Things like that would be pretty amazing that it could do to, answer customers' questions on the telephone or via on on the website. That would be pretty awesome. From a consumer perspective, I would certainly like something like that.
I think it has to be that way. That's one of my beefs, and we do have a pilot group going with a couple MIT students have broken off and they're trying to build the AI for the car dealerships and real sharp kids and they've been very they've just been very open to making things work you know, and that's a phone one. But, I said to him, I said, if somebody calls after hours and wants to ask a question about what cars you have in stock or, the towing capacity and stuff, and man, they made it work. So if you call it, 10 o'clock at night and you want to know what the towing capacity is on a Range Rover, it knows. It'll ask you a couple questions and it'll tell you. Um, which I think all these things need to be able to do. But there you go, it's got to be able to be tapped into the database that you need the information with, right? Um, and that's part of the problem with some of them. Like we talked earlier, if it doesn't integrate with your DMS, but it integrates with Xtime or a scheduler. How much information can it get? One of them we had a hard time. It didn't have caller ID, so you called and it asked your name and then it asked you for all your information. It should know that. So you say, "Hi, Steve, I see you're calling from this phone number. Are you calling about your '89 Wagoneer or your, '97 Wrangler, right? Or your '95 or your 2005 or 2025, Wagoneer, whatever it is, right? That's what it should be asking you." So, that's where I think that it needs to get better.
Well, and I do that. I see that as well on other tools, even on, social media where you'll see something, you click on an ad, and if I click on that ad, I am of the expectation at this point in life that it should know who I am. I shouldn't have to be filling out this form, or maybe it's a one click, you click on the ad and you hit submit info and it has your information. I don't need to be filling out my name, address, phone number, email address. And then I've recently got myself in this trap where I had to do it a second time. And
Right.
after that, I just, you hang up, you're just, I've given you my name and my email once. We should be done right here. And if your ad can't do that correctly, certainly what would make me think that your whatever program you have isn't going to work. So
Yeah, I would tell anybody if they want to have some fun with AI or some kind of online thing, go to your local utility company and watch how lame that is, right? And when I moved to trying to change my address was probably a 14-hour affair by the time I was on hold because I couldn't get the online thing to work. And then recently I wasn't getting bills, so I went to their chat and right through my account, I said, "Hey, I'm not getting your bills." And of course, 4 days later, they emailed me back, "Well, we need your account number." Well, I was in the account when I text you. You think you'd know that would, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
you would
and then it was
think.
probably a month later they fixed the account. I hadn't been billed since I moved in. Of course, the bills pile up. They don't waive it. They don't give you any goodwill adjustments. But it's amazing how the AI works. So, and I think that's why, when people call the AI, you get a good hang up rate in some cases. No matter how good it is, it's just they AI hang up and you hear them on the recording. I don't want to talk to no computer, so you have to be careful with it. But, and then I think the other thing is, like I said, I went through the list. There's a bunch of new vendors out there. So I'd like to take some time to actually get in and see what else is new that's out there besides, just the stuff you're hearing about. Cause there's always something out there, that piques your attention. Yeah, I mean, besides that and, meeting old friends and seeing all the old pals and, you know, reacquainting with I guess reacquainting with some of the vendors I've been doing business with to see what's new that way too. Sometimes it's better to look at it that way. There
Yeah,
than
I think so too. And that's from my perspective, getting to see a lot of people, now that I have a lot of trainers out on the road, I don't get to see the decision makers as much as I used to. So it is nice to catch up to different dealers, dealer principals, or even fixed ops directors that I don't chat with, every single day. And a lot of our stores just pick up the phone and call my trainer. They're like, "Hey, Craig, I need you here." Or, "Hey, Bob," whatever. And they're just bypassing me, which is great for me. I appreciate it. It's almost like my own AI. Just just skip right over. I'm the roadblock in the whole company, so skip right over me, call my trainer, and they show up. So it is good. It is good from that respect. And then there's a handful of guys that I'm going to meet that are brand new. So just that interaction is just so it's important to me. And I can imagine. I think the dealer, we need to have that dealer presence. That I need to make sure that I'm still in tune with them, and it is important for me to get there. And I was really disappointed last year because I couldn't. I had to walk there if I thought I could have made it. That's how much I love it, and how important I think the show is to me as a third party.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I do. I used to go to some of the workshops that they had, the educational workshops, and they become like 45-minute commercials. So I stopped going to those.
Yeah.
But I used to run into a lot of guys I knew, years ago that would do it, whatever, when I first started going. But I've kind of, like I said, I don't go to the commercials anymore. It's 45 minutes. Sometimes it's just too tight.
Well, this will be a shameless plug for myself, but I actually was looking at some of the people that are speaking, and
Hmm.
I'll just speak on Fix, but I think it's the NADA is speaking to it's the NADA speakers, and I don't want to bash anybody, but I was reading about the whole thing, and there's still a lot of people talking about 1980s, 1990s behavior. And we're well beyond 1980s, we're well beyond 90s, and quite frankly, well beyond 2021, in the COVID event. If we're not, just to go to a commercial, that's great, right? I can learn all about your tool. But, the NAD is supposed to be, you have to learn something. Like, what am I going to learn? What can I take back that's bright, it's fresh, it's new for 2026? I mean, I always like to say, "Hey, we were the first people talking 2021 stuff, 22, 23, and now all of a sudden it's 2026." And I'm literally a madman. I'm in my office and I'm researching and I'm reading and I'm always studying human behavior. And I hate to say it, but some of the people that are speaking this year they're talking about the 80s. What are we going to learn from the 80s?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's NADA, the org in a nutshell, right? When you still send people to NADA school, the General Manager Candidate Program. I did it many, many moons ago. It was a great program. Learned a lot. It was a 1 year out of your life. It was a lot of work. Well, you had a full-time job to do that class, the 1 week in school, and then all the homework and the pre-work and everything. It was great, but 26 years later, it can't be the same agenda. You know what I mean? And people I talk to, it's the same agenda. It's the exact
Yeah,
same thing. So,
yeah,
it's okay to learn the fundamentals and stuff,
that
but you know,
exactly.
but at a certain point, we have to get to the next level, right? It's got to be.
Well, that's what I
I,
say. I mean, the fundamentals are the fundamentals. We still run a car dealership, and you and I talk about it a lot of time. Get back to the basics and doing those things, those fundamentals. And I remember you brought that up once as the things we learned coming up through the business. Gosh, those were so important to manage and run and execute. The fundamentals of our dealerships. But there's got to be new things that keep us at the forefront. And you and I had talked about the hospitality, from the hospitals and things like that, the people that are doing that. And we're still, again, 80s hospitality instead of what do people want right now? And I guess AI is a big part of that. It is just so important to have that AI that you can build, or that will you can be customized to you, learns your data, your thing. Instead of just saying we have AI or we have this program, how is it going to benefit me, my particular dealership, more than anything? And there is one AI tool that I'm looking at from a training perspective, and so we're going to sit down with them and see how we can take that training and actually take our training and then build it into our system and build their AI into our system, so a dealer can actually role play and practice the things that Steve Shaw teaches. And so I'm really excited about that. That would be hopefully very customizable to our university, everyone's university. Uh, but and the thing about that is, if we can build that into our university, then there's less and less uh, need, I guess, to have someone in store, because that's what they're doing in store is those one-on-ones. So I'll be interested to see if they can actually pull that off.
Yeah, I think that that's one of those things where you can use AI to your advantage and multiply your efforts and multiply your scale, right? Without adding extra people, right? Then your people could be doing level, instead of 101, they could be doing the 201 class, right? Um, and I think there's something too with some of the other products I've been reading a little bit about, like the reputation management. Some of this stuff with AI, the AI like ChatGPT and Gemini and stuff, where people are using it now to search your dealership, or they're taking that, they'll talk into Gemini and say, listen, find me a Honda store in this area that has Google reviews over 4.6 or whatever like that, and tell me what the sentiment is, type thing, and I think those tools, as they evolve, we got to combat it with a little bit of you got to just combat it. That's all there is to it. So, the more I read about stuff like that, people using AI to shop you, find you, we need to be a little bit smarter in our reputation management and the tools we're using, because, I read something a couple weeks ago that said that some of these AI tools, when you tell it to go find a dealership, go find something, it's using Google, it's using Bing, it's, using all these things, but that Google put something in place where it doesn't, the AI doesn't go to the second page, like the next, like it only does the first page. So, if you're not on page one, is AI going to skip you? And that's stuff that's interesting when you think about it. You're like, wait a second, why wouldn't AI be able to go next? But Google is trying to gear everything up for Gemini. They're not trying to gear it up for ChatGPT or Grok or that's that type of thing. So, all those things. I'm interested in that part of the business too, and see what we can do there.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about that on our side as well. You just said go find a dealer that has X, Y, and Z stars. And there's a lot of people. I still talk to people right now that they're not even looking for social media reviews in their store. They're not asking for social media reviews. Whereas I don't do it that much. I'm painting my house, or I'll look for kind of an oddball thing. I'll look for a social media review. But more and more, like you said, if people are searching for it, then we on our side have to do it. We have to be able to we have to have our people getting us. Well, we got to be doing the job. We got to be delivering on 5-star service. And then we have to make sure that we get our customers out there, rating us and doing that for us. And that's a huge effort on our part this year, is getting those Google reviews, getting our advisors to actually ask the customer to do a social media review for us. It's huge. It's hugely important.
Yeah, I mean, CSI is the manufacturer's little scoreboard, and we have to be cognizant of our manufacturer, our franchise agreement, our partners that way. But in the scheme of things, it really doesn't mean squat. It's just another hammer over you. It really doesn't. I mean, as far as the real life goes, um, the Google reviews and your reputation management probably means a lot more. And again, I'm not a guy that goes out and looks at this stuff. I don't, I really don't. I'm not a big review fan, and I've never been. But it's not about me, right? Just like videos. I don't really watch a lot of videos. I don't sit there on TikTok, and I'm just not a video guy, right? But that doesn't mean my customers aren't. So, and the newer generation, younger kids, the younger people, it doesn't even have to be younger, 30s and 40s. They're on YouTube. They're looking at videos. They're doing this stuff, thank goodness, because then they would never see our, handsome faces, right? But, but, just because I'm not doesn't mean I shouldn't be embracing it, right? So, that was the other thing I wanted to look at, is different tools for videos. And because I think our sales department, through the CRM, isn't doing a good job with videos, and they should be doing a much better job, for the car buyers and the people that put leads in, instead of just sending an email. How about sending a video? Hey, I know you were looking at this car, and do a little walk around or whatever the case may be. So,
Yeah, and that could lead us to a topic for another day. But
yeah,
talking about video multi-point. If
yeah,
I'm scrolling or watching those reels, and they're 30 seconds long, and that's what I'm used to. I mean, we really got to be doing those types of things to get. I mean, it's hugely more important, but if the attention span of the consumer, the end user, is that real, then our videos got to be very real like. They got to be what the customer wants, and not just some 5-minute video where I'm walking around, where I'm walking around the car and doing my thing. I got to get to the point. I got to do it. So maybe one day we'll talk about, video multi-point, but I think the point to everybody right now is we, certainly Steve has his own opinion of how things should be, but I always try to very much so look at what is the behavior of the consumer right now, and then that's what we have to deliver our message to is, not how do I like it. It doesn't matter what Steve likes, because that absolutely matters. It doesn't matter at all.
Right. And I would say to anybody out there listening, if you had some things you want us to check out at any DA, shoot us a note, right? Just, send a note. I'll go look at it. I'll check it out. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
interested in something and your boss won't let you go, then, I heard of this technology or heard of this company. Send us a note. I'll go look at it. I don't care.
Absolutely. Send us a note. We'll do a review. We will do a product review. I think our next, after the convention, we should do a show on after the convention. What did we learn? Was it worth our, of course it'll be worth the trip out there, because it is Vegas. And it is very, what do you want to call it? Behavior centric, seeing everybody, but it'd be interesting to see, there's new tools. What was there? Something that what was our takeaways, right? We should do a takeaways.
Yeah, we will.
From the convention. That would be awesome. We probably ought to wrap up here. What do you think? Anything you want to leave everybody with from a tip of the day perspective?
Well, like I said, just if you have some ideas or some things that we didn't talk about and you want us to take a look at it, let us know. And as far as, again, tip of the day, it piggyback on last time. Just do your due diligence, check out these things, and if you're going to try something new, maybe also keep it to a 30-day contract so you're not stuck in something for 2 years. That's
Get
the other
free
thing.
trial. Get the free trial.
You got to work the free trial, or be like Steve, send an email to the boss and the owner and say, let's get some love here. I need something, right? So
And if everybody's there, look for me and Dave. We'll be wandering around. Sometimes we'll be together. Make sure you stop by and say hi to us, and yell "Fix Stops Focus" and all that good stuff. Maybe we'll do an on-the-spot interview. I'll have my my portable camera, or my portable setup. So we do a quick.
Oh, nice.
We'll do a reel. We'll do some reels while we're there.
We'll do some reels walking around the convention. There you go. Perfect.
We'll sit out in the. My favorite thing is just sitting out and then watching everybody walk through. So we'll see probably twice as many people doing that.
I love that.
Awesome. Well, let's get out of here, Dave. I'll catch up to you. See you at the show.
Yep. I'll see you then.
Fix Stops Focus is brought to you by Common Sense. Like, subscribe, and share on all platforms. Side effects may include advisors missing easy upsells, ROs walking out the door, CSI scores tanking, techs chasing comebacks instead of billable hours, your competition stealing your customers, and that special guilt of watching your gross profit bleed out monthly. Results may vary. Consult your Fix Stops director before ignoring this advice.